Listen, I keep seeing the butterfly effect trend, and a lot of the ones I'm seeing aren't actually butterfly effects, but I think my fiance and I's story is a butterfly effect thing, but you need to tell me. We have to go back to 2020 when I was living in Minneapolis, and at the time, my best friend was living in Chicago. She had been at her apartment in Chicago for years. Her and her neighbor shared a patio. That unit had had some turnover with people, and so she had a new neighbor in there, and they didn't really see or talk to each other at all, except when the pandemic happened. Now all of a sudden, everyone's working from home, and the only time they can really socialize is outside on this patio that they share because nothing's open, you know? So she becomes really good friends with this neighbor. His name's Dave. Now, fast forward a few months, I end up getting a new job at a new company. I wasn't looking. They approached me. I found out that I was going to be moving to Seattle. Around this same time, her patio neighbor, Dave, also found out that he was relocating with his company to Seattle. So we are now moving out to Seattle within a week of each other. We have no friends, no real way to make friends because it's COVID. So we end up spending a lot of time together as new transplants to the city. He had a bigger network of people through work that he was able to meet, but we weren't really going into the office at all. We were only going on site if we had to go use the lab. So I wasn't really meeting a lot of new friends or anything like that. So this allowed Dave and I to become really close friends during this time period. This is July of 2020. Now, fast forward again to December of 2020, and his friend group had started growing with other transplants that had moved to the area for that same company. And I was starting to get invited to a few things here or there. But again, this is still back when you were supposed to be hanging out with the same 5 people all the time and you had your little pods. So I wasn't really getting invited to a ton of stuff, but I would still see Dave sometimes. So they were at another one of their coworkers' houses in December of 2020, and there were really 4 or 5 guys there and 1 girl. They work in tech, so this is a pretty common ratio. These were all transplants who had moved during 2020, and they were all at this one coworker's house. There were 4 or 5 guys and 1 girl, and she was like, does anyone know any other females who are in Seattle because I want to make girlfriends? So Dave texts me, and he's like, hey, what are you doing tonight? We're having a game night. Do you want to come over? There's a girl here that I think you'd really get along with, and she wants to meet other girlfriends. I was like, absolutely, sign me up. So I Uber on over to this house. I walk right in, and there is my now fiance. He had also just moved to Seattle that October, and they had just moved into this specific house. He was in corporate housing when he had relocated, and they had just moved into this house a couple weeks prior. So the fact that I had to move to Seattle, he had to move to Seattle, he had to work at the same company as my friend. Dave had to share a patio with my best friend in Chicago for me to even meet Dave. And then they all had to be at this one house, this one night with Austin there. Their coworker, Emily, had to ask, do you know any other girls here for us to even meet? It blows my mind all of the things that had to align for us to even be in the same state together, let alone the same room together. But that is the story of how I met my fiance.